Final Fantasy VIII Remastered has been a long time coming, and a game people have been waiting on for several years after the touched-up ports of Final Fantasy VII and IX. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered goes beyond what those re-releases did, and is even offering brand new character models and textures for all of its characters, NPCs, and enemies. The result is that the game looks absolutely stunning, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. And it looks like we won't have to wait much longer to do so. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered has been rated by the ESRB. This typically is one of the last major things that happens before a game's release. Even Final Fantasy VII Remake, a game that's a little over 7 months away, still isn't rated by the ESRB yet. We knew that Final Fantasy VIII Remastered was coming this year, as told to us by the game's announcement trailer. But rather than the game coming in November or December, the ESRB rating dropping now means that the game could be coming as soon as August or September, which should give you your Final Fantasy fix and hold you off until Final Fantasy VII Remake drops. As for the ESRB rating of the game, just like the original release of the game and pretty much every mainline game after it, it was rated T for Teen. What's interesting to note is that the re-releases and remasters of these games always contain more content descriptors. Whereas the original Final Fantasy VIII's descriptors were just animated violence, mild language, and suggestive themes, the remastered includes these as well as the use of alcohol and violence. Though this is true, it's always funny to see more notes about the exact same game's content get tacked on as the game goes along. There's still so much information that is unknown about the game currently, that Square Enix is going to have to work to communicate soon before the game releases. We still don't know about the game's pre-rendered backgrounds, if they've been remastered at all, which is one of my biggest concerns. We know that the game will feature the original PS1 soundtrack, but it seems unlikely at this point that the game will have any sort of remastered soundtrack, though this is still unconfirmed. And easily the biggest thing is that there's absolutely no official comment on the game's rumored voice acting, which appeared on Square Enix's own description of the game, which was buried inside of their website's front-end code. It was then later removed once the gaming news media got wind of it. Square Enix is more than likely going to start the big marketing push for the game any day now, which should include more gameplay footage and clarification of details. One of those details being if the game is going to be released physically or not. The game has been popping up and disappearing on physical retailers, but some companies such as video game rental website Gamefly, as of the writing and recording of this video, still have physical copies listed on their website for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. If it really was a mistake, you would think they would have removed it by now, as it's been there for quite some time. The fact that this game is having a potential physical release is also leading to the speculation that the game could include a demo for Final Fantasy VII Remake with it. The reason this bit of speculation is being raised is that every single mainline Final Fantasy since 7 has almost always had a demo somewhere, usually included with another game. Even in this day and age, the demos are usually not made public, ever, and are almost always a purchase incentive for another game. With Final Fantasy XIII's demo, it was made available with a copy of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Complete on Blu-ray. With Final Fantasy XV Episode Duscae, you had to purchase a copy of Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. Because of this, I've seen some fans speculate on if Final Fantasy VIII Remastered could potentially contain a demo for Final Fantasy VII Remake. While this isn't impossible, I'm almost completely certain that this is absolutely not going to be the case. The simple reason is that Final Fantasy VII Remake is a PS4 exclusive, and Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is not. They almost certainly are not going to include a PS4 redemption code with your Nintendo Switch or Xbox One copy of the game. That would be even more weird if you bought the game digitally. I also don't know if a company like Nintendo would like you bundling a PS4 code in with their products, so then you'd have to make the demo only available on the PS4 version of the game, which again is by all means possible, just unlikely, as it would devalue the other versions of the game. If the game cost the same on the Switch and the Xbox One, and it didn't have a demo code included, it would objectively be of less value. And people are inevitably upset whenever they pay the same but get less. Then there would be a ton of, let's just call them dimmer light bulbs, writing articles and creating petitions about how they should get a PS4 code bundled in with their Microsoft or Nintendo copies of their games. rumors, so I can't tell you if there'll ever be a Final Fantasy VII Remake demo, but I can tell you that most likely there won't be one here. It's not impossible, it's just very unlikely. So with all that said, Ultima Weapons, what platform will you be purchasing Final Fantasy VIII Remastered on? Do you disagree and think it'll include the community speculated demo, which I've argued against here? What's your release date prediction? Subscribe, click the bell icon, and let me know in the comments below. And if you've been enjoying my content, be sure to check out the Patreon for the Night Sky Prince, like Mercedes and Tim Lewis, who've been awesome enough to support the channel, and honestly, some of the best supporters I have. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. Shout out to Mercedes and Tim and the rest of the Ultima community.